Just because a team trades on draft day doesn't mean that the trades are good. And today, we're highlighting some of the worst. Throughout NFL history, we've seen plenty of draft day trades that looked genius at first, only to wind up as all-time disasters. Here's a look at every NFL team's most disgustingly bad draft day trade. And remember, this list only includes trades that actually happened on draft day, not before. Arizona Cardinals. The QB-needy Cardinals coveted UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen, so they traded the number 15, number 79, and number 152 selections to the Oakland Raiders to move up and take Rosen with the 10th overall pick. Rosen never got much of a chance on a bad Arizona team. The Cardinals quickly gave up on him and selected Kyler Murray with the first overall selection 1 year later. Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons gave away the number 1 selection, plus a 4th rounder in the 1990 NFL Draft to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for wide receiver Andre Rison, star offensive tackle Chris Hinton, a 5th round pick, and a 1991 first rounder. Hinton and Rison had some success in Atlanta, but the trade really didn't do much to fix the franchise. If Atlanta had kept the top pick, they could have drafted a Hall of Famer like Cortez Kennedy, Junior Seau, or Emmitt Smith. Baltimore Ravens. In 2003, the Ravens surrendered their 2nd rounder and their 2004 first rounder to the New England Patriots in exchange for the number 19 selection, which they used on Kyle Boller. Boller never panned out in Baltimore, going 20-22 as a starter with 45 touchdowns against 45 picks. The rival Patriots used the 2004 first rounder from Baltimore on Pro Bowl nose tackle Vince Wilfork, a key component of their Super Bowl 39 and 49 championship teams. Buffalo Bills. The Bills gave up their 2004 2nd and 4th round picks, and more importantly, their 2004 first rounder to the Dallas Cowboys in order to move up for Tulane QB J.P. Lossman, who they drafted with the number 22 pick. Lossman won just 10 of 33 starts with the Bills, tossing 33 touchdowns against 34 interceptions. To make matters worse, if the Bills had just kept their 2005 first rounder, they could have used it on some guy named Aaron Rodgers. Carolina Panthers. Looking to bolster their offensive line, Carolina traded their 2008 2nd and 4th rounders and their 2009 first round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles so they could get Pittsburgh offensive tackle Jeff Oda at number 19 overall. Injuries unfortunately limited Oda to just 29 games in the NFL. He missed all of 2010 recovering from a knee injury, and he was out of the league after the 2011 season. Chicago Bears. In order to select North Carolina QB Mitch Trubisky, the Bears gave the San Francisco 49ers a king's ransom. Trubisky never panned out with the Bears, who also passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals moved up 4 spots to take Penn State running back Keyjana Carter with the first overall pick in 1995.
The Carolina Panthers have traded the first pick in the draft to the Cincinnati Bengals. In return for the Bengals' first round selection, the number 5 choice overall, and the Bengals' 2nd round selection, number 36 overall. So the Cincinnati Bengals are now on the clock.
Carter never panned out with the Bengals. He was unproductive in the 1995 and 96 campaigns. A plethora of injuries unfortunately limited him to just 4 total games in 1997 and 1998. He recorded just 747 total rushing yards and 16 rushing touchdowns in his 4 years with the Bengals. Cleveland Browns. At the 2011 draft, the Browns surrendered the number 6 pick to the Falcons in exchange for a whopping 5 picks, 2 first rounders, a 2nd, and a pair of 4th rounders. Well, the Falcons got themselves one of the best receivers over the next decade in Julio Jones. And the Browns, well, they didn't end up picking any impactful players whatsoever with the picks that they got. I bet they would have rather had Julio instead. Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys gave up the number 14 and number 45 picks in the 2012 draft to the St. Louis Rams so they could move up and take LSU corner Morris Claiborne with the number 6 selection. Claiborne wasn't awful by any means, but he never played all 16 games in a season, and he only played more than 11 games once. He only had a measly 4 interceptions in 5 years with the Cowboys. Denver Broncos. This trade was a head-scratcher from day one. The Broncos traded, wait for it, their 2010 first-rounder to the Seattle Seahawks in exchange for the number 37 pick in 2009. With that pick, Denver selected cornerback Alphonso Smith, who played one season there before getting traded to the Detroit Lions. And Seattle used Denver's 2010 first-rounder on future Hall of Fame safety Earl Thomas. Detroit Lions. The Lions surrendered the number 8 pick and a 4th-round selection in the 1993 draft to the New Orleans Saints in exchange for Pro Bowl linebacker Pat Swilling. Though Swilling earned a Pro Bowl selection in 1993, he lasted just 2 seasons with the Lions. Meanwhile, New Orleans used the number 8 pick on future Hall of Fame offensive tackle Willie Roaf. Green Bay Packers. Call it recency bias, but truth be told, the Packers haven't really made any other awful draft day trades that set them back. Still, the Jordan Love selection continues to baffle us. Green Bay gave up the number 30 pick plus its 2020 4th rounder to Miami so they could draft the Utah State QB with the number 26 selection. The Packers should have used their 2020 first rounder on a high-impact player who could help them win now. Drafting a high-risk quarterback prospect when you still have Rodgers in his prime? We don't get it either. Houston Texans. The young Texans franchise swung for the fences on Jason Babin at the 2004 draft, and it didn't exactly pan out. They gave Tennessee their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks that year in exchange for the number 27 and number 159 selections. Houston took Babin 27th overall, and it only netted them 13 sacks in 3 seasons. Babin would eventually turn into a Pro Bowler. Ironically, though, it was as a member of the Titans. Indianapolis Colts. The aforementioned Falcons-Colt trade involving the number 1 selection in 1990 was a disaster for both teams. Indianapolis used that top selection on quarterback Jeff George, and as noted earlier, they gave up a lot for it. George lost 35 of 49 starts at the Colts over 4 seasons, tossing 41 touchdowns against 46 interceptions. Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars acquired the number 8 pick in the 2008 draft from the Ravens in exchange for the number 26 selection, 2 thirds, and a 4th rounder. Jacksonville used the pick on Florida defensive end Derek Harvey, who had just 8 total sacks in 3 seasons with the team.
Done enough drafts with you, 25 of them. This is a reach here.
I believe, and like I said, I saw this kid. I didn't think he had enough sacks.
Meanwhile, Baltimore used the draft capital from Jacksonville to trade up for eventual Super Bowl 47 MVP Joe Flacco. Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs gave up the number 16 pick to the Steelers in exchange for the 27th, 159th, and 200th draft choices. Pittsburgh used the selection on future Hall of Fame safety Troy Polamalu, who guided them to a pair of Super Bowl championships. The Chiefs got 2-time Pro Bowl running back Larry Johnson with the number 27 pick.
The 27th selection in the 2003 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Larry Johnson, running back, Penn State.
But problems on and off the field prevented him from reaching his full potential. And boy, he was nothing close to being the impact player that Polamalu was in Pittsburgh. Las Vegas Raiders. Only the Raiders could trade a Hall of Fame wideout to the New England Patriots for nothing more than a 4th round pick.
He's agreed to restructure the final 2 years on a contract that owed him some $20 million. New England was the only team Moss agreed to restructure his deal for.
Remember how Moss proceeded to enjoy a career revival, including that historic 2007 campaign when he caught an NFL record 23 touchdown passes? Los Angeles Chargers. After moving on from LaDainian Tomlinson, the Chargers thought they found the perfect replacement in Fresno State running back Ryan Matthews.
With the 12th pick in the 2010 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Ryan Matthews.
The Chargers swung a blockbuster deal with the Dolphins to move up from 28 to 12 so they could take him. Matthews had 2 1,000-yard seasons with the Chargers, but he struggled to stay healthy and never reached his full potential. He lasted just 5 years with the Chargers. Los Angeles Rams. The Rams had a star running back in Jerome Bettis. However, they coveted the talent of troubled Nebraska running back Lawrence Phillips. So, at the 1996 draft, the Rams traded Bettis and a 3rd rounder to the Steelers for a 1996 2nd-round selection and a 1997 4th rounder. Phillips lasted 2 seasons with the Rams, but his erratic behavior forced the Rams to cut him. Bettis went on to become a Hall of Famer, winning a Super Bowl 40 championship with the Steelers in his final season. Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins gave up the 12th and 42nd overall picks to the Raiders so they could move up and take Oregon defensive end Deion Jordan with the number 3 selection.
The Oakland Raiders have traded the 3rd pick to the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins select Deion Jordan, defensive end, Oregon.
And all Miami got out of that was 3 3 sacks in 2 seasons. Jordan was suspended for all of 2015 after violating the league's performance-enhancing substance policy. Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota gave up its 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th round picks to the Patriots so they could take Tennessee wideout Cordero Patterson with the 29th selection in 2013. Patterson never cut it as a receiver for many. Sure, he was an elite special teams return man, but you don't give up 4 picks for a special teams guy. And the Pats used 2 of those picks from Minnie on Jamie Collins and Logan Ryan, 2 instrumental pieces in their Super Bowl 49 winning season. Ryan was also on the Patriots' Super Bowl 51 championship team. New England Patriots. The Patriots were happy to trade down in the 1985 draft, acquiring the San Francisco 49ers' 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round selections in exchange for the number 16 and number 75 picks. In hindsight, they probably regretted that decision. The 49ers used the number 16 pick on some guy named Jerry Rice.
16th pick in the 1st round. The San Francisco 49ers select wide receiver Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley.
You know, the GOAT of wideouts who led San Francisco to 3 Super Bowl championships. New Orleans Saints. The Saints gave up every single selection they had in the 1999 draft, 8 in total, to Washington so they could take Texas running back Ricky Williams.
New Orleans 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and New Orleans 1st and 3rd round picks in next year's draft. The New Orleans Saints are now on the clock.
Now, Williams had 2 1,000-yard seasons in NOLA and all, but the only issue is that he lasted just 3 years with the team before getting traded to Miami. Not exactly the return they were hoping for when they gave up their entire draft for the former Heisman winner.
They get Ricky Williams for less than some people might have imagined. Chris, they couldn't be more excited. Mike Ditka came in with a big cigar here today. I think he just lit it up.
New York Giants. So hey, credit to the Giants. They haven't made any horrible draft day trades. So we had to reach a bit with this trade from the 2nd round of the 2006 draft. The Giants gave up their 2nd and 3rd rounders to the Ravens so they could move up and take Miami wideout Sonoris Moss with the number 44 pick. He caught just 39 passes for 421 yards and 3 TDs in 4 seasons with New York. New York Jets. At the 1980 draft, the Jets traded the 13th and 20th overall picks to the 49ers so they could move up and take Johnny Lamb Jones in the number 2 spot. Johnny played 5 seasons, all with the Jets. He only accumulated 138 catches for 2,322 yards and 13 touchdowns. He never topped 734 yards in a season. Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles gave up the number 12 selection plus a pair of 2nd rounders to Tampa Bay so they could move up and take Mike Mamula with the 7th pick.
Eagles select defensive end from Boston College, Mike Mamula. Right, Mike Mamula from Boston College.
Mamula had 31.5 sacks in 5 seasons with Philly. Not horrible, but the Bucs used the number 12 pick on future Hall of Famer Warren Sapp. And they later traded one of the 2nd rounders from Philly to Dallas so they could move up and take another Hall of Famer in Derek Brooks at number 28 overall. Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers traded the number 17 selection to Dallas in exchange for the number 21 pick plus a 3rd rounder.
Pittsburgh has traded this choice to Dallas in return for 2 picks in this draft which Dallas holds. Specifically, Dallas gives to Pittsburgh Minnesota's pick in the 1st round of this draft, which is the 21st pick, which Dallas has held. And also, Dallas gives Pittsburgh San Francisco's choice in the 3rd round, the 28th pick in the 3rd round of this draft. Those 2 picks go to Pittsburgh, and Dallas is now on the board.
The Cowboys drafted future all-time rushing yards leader Emmitt Smith, the backbone of their 90s dynasty that won 3 Super Bowls. Pittsburgh used the picks on Eric Green, a 2-time Pro Bowler, and Craig Vesey. Not bad, but obviously not as impactful as Smith was in Dallas. San Francisco 49ers. At the 2016 draft, the 49ers traded their 2nd, 4th, and 6th rounders to KC in exchange for the number 28 and number 249 selections. San Fran used the 1st rounder on Stanford guard Josh Garnett. Injuries limited him to just 22 game appearances in 2 seasons with the team. Oh, and KC used the 2nd rounder they got from San Fran on sack specialist Chris Jones, who led his team to a victory over the 49ers in Super Bowl 54. Seattle Seahawks. Dallas traded 4 draft picks to Seattle so they could take Pittsburgh running back Tony Dorsett with the number 7 selection in 1977.
The Seattle Seahawks trade their first-round selection to the Dallas Cowboys.
Dorsett, a Hall of Famer, helped Dallas to a Super Bowl XII victory. The Seahawks, on the other hand, didn't get any Hall of Fame talents out of the deal. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At the 2012 NFL Draft, the Bucs agreed to trade down from 5 to 7 in a deal with the Jaguars. Tampa Bay used their pick on Alabama safety Mark Barron, who played only 2.5 seasons before getting traded to the Rams. The trade could have been a lot better for the Bucs had they taken any of the next 5 players who were selected after Barron. That would include Ryan Tannehill, Luke Kuechly, Stephon Gilmore, Dontari Poe, and Fletcher Cox. Tennessee Titans. At the 1997 draft, the Titans gave up their 1st and 4th round picks to the Chiefs in exchange for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th round picks. Kansas City used that 1st round pick on Tony Gonzalez, arguably the best tight end of all time. And spoiler alert, the Titans didn't get any Hall of Famers out of the 4 picks they got from KC. Washington football team. Washington held the number 18 pick in the 2002 draft. Long story short, they made several moves and eventually landed at number 32 following a trade with the Patriots. Washington took Tulane quarterback Patrick Ramsey with the number 32 selection. That netted them only 24 starts over 4 seasons. 14 of those starts were losses, and Ramsey just had 34 touchdowns against 29 interceptions. But hey, what do you think was your favorite NFL team's worst draft day trade in history? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.